Have you ever made one small decision that changed your life forever? I have. My name is Nathan. For years, I couldn't tell anyone what happened that cold autumn evening. Some memories fade with time. This one never did. Even today, whenever I hear a child crying in the distance, my heart stops for a second. Because I remember her, the little girl I found alone in the woods. 3 years ago, I worked as a delivery driver in a quiet mountain town. Most evenings were peaceful. The roads were empty. The forests stretched for miles on both sides of the highway. People always warned me, never stop in those woods after dark. I laughed every time I heard it, until one evening, I had no choice. Rain poured so heavily that I could barely see the road. My truck suddenly lost power. The engine died. I pulled over beside a forest trail. There was no phone signal, no nearby houses, nothing. Only the sound of rain and wind moving through the trees. As I stepped outside to check the engine, I heard something. A child crying. At first, I thought I imagined it. Then I heard it again, soft, weak, somewhere inside the forest. Every sensible part of me said, stay with the truck, but I couldn't ignore it. I grabbed my flashlight and followed the sound. The deeper I walked, the quieter the world became. The rain seemed to disappear beneath the thick trees. Only the crying remained. Then my flashlight landed on a tiny figure, a little girl, maybe 6 years old. She was sitting beneath a large oak tree. Her clothes were soaked. She hugged an old stuffed rabbit tightly against her chest. When she saw me, she didn't scream. She simply whispered, "Are you here to help me?" I knelt beside her. "My name's Nathan. What's yours?" She hesitated, then quietly answered, "Lily." She looked exhausted, cold, terrified. I wrapped my jacket around her shoulders. "Where are your parents?" She looked down. "I don't know." Those 3 words chilled me more than the cold rain. I carried Lily back toward the road. She barely spoke. Every few minutes she'd glance behind us, as if expecting someone to appear between the trees. When we finally reached my truck, the engine started on the first attempt, as if nothing had ever been wrong. That should have made me feel relieved. Instead, it made me uneasy. The nearest police station was 30 minutes away. During the drive, I tried to keep Lily calm. We talked about cartoons, ice cream, school. She smiled once, just once. Then she asked something that still haunts me. "Will he find me?" I looked at her in the mirror. "Who?" She didn't answer. She simply hugged her stuffed rabbit even tighter. At the station, officers immediately began searching missing person reports. Hours passed. Nothing. No missing child named Lily. No recent reports. No desperate parents. It made no sense. The officers decided to keep her overnight, while investigators continued searching. Before I left, Lily grabbed my hand. "Please don't leave. I'll come back tomorrow," I promised. She smiled. It was the first real smile I'd seen. The next morning, I returned with a new stuffed rabbit. But something was wrong. The station was unusually quiet. One officer walked toward me slowly. His face looked pale. He asked, "Where exactly did you find her?" I showed him the location on a map. He stared at it for several seconds. Then he quietly said, "We searched that area all night. There was no child there." I frowned. "What are you talking about?" "I carried her out myself." He swallowed hard. "Nathan, there was never a girl at the station." I laughed. I thought he was joking. Then he opened a security recording. The video showed me entering the station alone. Completely alone. No little girl, no stuffed rabbit, nothing. I couldn't believe it. I insisted they were wrong. I described Lily in every detail. The blue jacket, the muddy shoes, the stuffed rabbit. Everything. One elderly detective listened without interrupting. Then he quietly left the room. A few minutes later, he returned carrying an old newspaper. The headline read, "6-year-old girl missing after hiking trip." The article was dated 22 years earlier. The photograph showed a smiling little girl. She was holding the same stuffed rabbit. Her name was Lily. My hands began shaking. The detective explained that despite weeks of searching, Lily had never been found. Her parents had died years later, never knowing what happened to their daughter. I couldn't speak. Every logical explanation disappeared. Had I imagined everything? No, because I still remembered the warmth of my jacket around her shoulders, the sound of her voice, the fear in her eyes. I drove back to the forest that afternoon. I needed answers. I returned to the old oak tree. The rain had stopped. Everything was silent. Then, I noticed something half buried beneath fallen leaves. A faded stuffed rabbit. Its fabric was torn with age, exactly like the one Lily had held. Nearby, search teams later discovered small human remains. DNA testing confirmed the truth. They belonged to Lily. She had been there all along, hidden beneath the forest floor for more than 2 decades. Her family finally received the answers they had waited a lifetime to hear. Months later, Lily was laid to rest beside her parents. Hundreds of people attended the funeral. I stood quietly in the back, unable to explain why I felt responsible for someone I'd only known for a single night. As everyone left, I placed the old stuffed rabbit beside her grave. The wind gently moved through the trees. For a brief moment, I thought I heard a little girl's voice, soft, peaceful. "Thank you." Maybe it was only the wind. Maybe it wasn't. People still ask why I never drive through those woods anymore. I simply smile and change the subject. Because some experiences can't be explained. They can only be remembered. Lily never got the childhood she deserved. She never got to grow up. She never got to tell her parents goodbye. But somehow, after 22 years, she found one stranger willing to listen. And because of that, her family finally found peace. If this story teaches us anything, it's this: never ignore a cry for help, even when it comes from the darkest place. Sometimes, the smallest act of kindness can bring peace to a soul that has been waiting for years. Thank you for listening. And if you ever find yourself walking through silent woods, listen carefully. Because not every voice is asking to be feared. Some are simply asking to be found. Please like, comment, and subscribe this channel to see more heart-touching story.